I wanted to learn more about your actual studies that you did in regards to cocaine. And was that before the psychedelic stuff, or did that lead up to it? And
that was concurrent.
That was concurrent with the psychedelic stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I always like did the psychedelic sort of like the psychedelic research on the side because like there was hardly any funding for it. So I kind of kept my day job, so to speak, by getting these grants to do research with cocaine, which I also found very interesting. And
how do you get a grant to do research for cocaine?
You apply to the National Institute on Drug Abuse. And so what I did some research when I was a postdoc after I got my PhD on like the interactions between cocaine and nicotine and caffeine. But the more interesting stuff was the stuff that I conducted as principal investigator, got my own grant. I had a line of research where I took behavioral economic models. So a lot of my work has been using like economic concepts and studying human decision making to understand drug use, like and addiction. And so I developed these. I took this model from behavioral economics called delay discounting, so offering people choices between smaller sooner versus larger later amounts of money. And people who are addicted to whether it's cocaine or cigarettes or anything tend to be more immediate focused. They tend to take the smaller sooner at the expense of the larger later. And so I applied that to cocaine and sexual risk. I did this with methamphetamine and alcohol too. Drugs that are associated with risky sex, like which can lead to HIV and all kinds of whatever unintended consequences, unintended pregnancy.
Right.
But asking people hypothetical decisions about if you were in this this content, you met this person at somewhere, and first they pick out amongst all these like 60 photos what person they'd have casual sex with. As long as they're getting along, you know, and so it's kind of fun for people. It's like, oh yeah, you know, whatever. Gender is something there for everyone. You can pick one gender, two genders, all of the above, you know, whatever you're into. And then from that, we do these tasks of like asking them, okay, so let's say they're down, would you use a condom or not? Just like your likelihood on a scale. And they make the rating. And typically even like high risk people, like cocaine addicted people, would say, you know, there's some exceptions, but they'd say, no, I'm very likely to use a condom. But then you say, okay, now you got to wait 5 minutes. You're having unprotected sex now or waiting 5 minutes. And then different delays, like sometimes it's an hour. It could go up to like next day, you got to get together tomorrow. But you could see that as you had to wait to use sex with a condom, you would see that would drastically change their function. They would shift towards unprotected sex. And then we got people loaded on cocaine. So we administered cocaine to them. And it didn't touch those money decisions. So whether they'd want the $50 now or $100 in a month. But for these sexual decisions that had a strong effect, they'd be like, no, I'm down now. Like they're on cocaine. And so which to me, it opened up a lens of like, this is where it's not just this association of cocaine with it's like if you talk to people like they're, you know, heavy cocaine users, and they'll just do like wild stuff. Like I remember stories of like one guy in a treatment study I was running was we would have them talk about contexts in which they would use cocaine. He's like, okay, a lot of times I'm hanging out with my female cousin. This is a guy, and it's like we'd get high, and let's just say we'd move from the kitchen into the bedroom and she wouldn't be my cousin anymore, if you hear me. Like things like this. Like there's all kinds of things that people, and there's a good number of folks that would, you know, they identify as straight. But once coke's in the system, it's like, wow, yeah, that story doesn't hold up.
And they start divulging this stuff when they're on cocaine?
Well, those stories come from people, you know, not when they're on cocaine, but they seem like very credible because they're not like.
I see.
Nothing. These aren't things to brag about. Like, yeah, just people I've been able to talk to in the context of these studies. Because I always like whether it's cocaine or psychedelics. Like, I've really valued sitting down and really talking to people. Like, and a lot of scientists that do the type of thing I do, there can be a judgment, and like, oh, these are cocaine users. These are, you know, like. It's like, no, like, tell me how do you score coke in Baltimore? Where do you, oh, you call it like Ready Rock. What's that? Oh, yeah, it's like, it's a Baltimore thing, you know, like, okay, do you sell in like $5 amounts? Like, you know, how do you do it? Like, what would you say? You know, just wondering, you know, oh, the different types of heroin on East Side, West Side, Baltimore. Like, I want to know, like, all these things that people, you know, like, you know, and understand like what people are, what's motivating them and like how, like, just the sociology of the drug use environment and what's motivating people. And so I've really valued that aspect. So I'll usually take the time to, you know, kind of really get to know people and try to understand these things. And some of it is in the context, like the guy with his cousin, that was in the context of, yeah, we're, as part of the study, we're having them talk about the environments that they normally use in. But yeah, so cocaine and sex, though, go like, and same with methamphetamine, they go hand in hand. You ask any...
Oh, with methamphetamine, same thing?
Meth and sex. So any psychomotor stimulant and sex, they are like strong...
How do you explain
people
that?
People get randy. And so, and I showed for the first time, even though, you know, anecdotally, like anyone could have told you this, it's been around cocaine a lot, but we showed under double-blind conditions that just cocaine increases sexual arousal to a substantial degree. So people get horny when they're on cocaine or methamphetamine. Sometimes, more so with cocaine, sometimes, not always, it interferes with the ability to perform.
Right.
So for the male.
With Viagra.
Right.
Have you heard
which
the story
is a
of Dan
thing.
Bilzerian? I don't know if you heard the story. This is this dude named Dan Bilzerian. He was like a playboy type guy who was always riding around on yachts with like tons of women.
Yeah.
And he had a heart attack in his 20s. And he explains he was in Vegas doing coke for like 3 days straight. And he said that like he went to go have sex with this chick and he couldn't get it up. So he ate like 4 Viagras and he started to have a heart attack and he had to go to the ER. And he ended up having like 2 heart attacks or something crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not a good combination.
No, especially in your 20s.
And a lot of people have used, same thing can happen with MDMA, but like, so Viagra, I think about 25 years ago, at least it was in some headlines, people would call it sextasy, like the combo of like MDMA, ecstasy, and
so does that have the same effect?
Viagra. Well, yeah, like what just counteract, MDMA can cause impotence.
Oh, really?
So it's like one might feel more romantic and cuddling up and everything, but if they want to seal the deal, right. So same with Coke, not always, but it just, it's like heavy alcohol, like the will might be there, but the things may not function totally.
Sure.
But nonetheless, it's enough of it. It's not a black or white thing, you know, because there's plenty of, that's one of the issues. That's how I got the grant funding to look at these drugs, both meth and Coke.
So hypothetically,
there's a lot of HIV because of, with heroin, it's more of injecting. With Coke and meth, it's more of like, no, I just, got loaded and did some crazy stuff. And a lot of it's like men on the, there's a thing it was on Oprah decades ago, Brothers on the Down Low, like probably because of stigma. It was like amongst African American men that didn't want to admit that they occasionally, or more than occasionally, had male partners. That then they didn't tell they kept it from the female, so there was a transmission of HIV. Oh wow! Because they were having anal sex with males, but then
which is higher, transmitting, more chance of getting HIV that way.
Much, dramatically. Which is like, and sometimes I think we don't do the public a service because we're too prudish. It's like unprotected anal sex is like that was always the issue.
So if you're
like that's
gay,
a very
doing cocaine, you're more likely to get AIDS because you're going to take the roll the dice by not if you don't have a condom.
So the answer is have a condom on you.
Right.
Like
especially gay cokeheads out there. Keep condoms on you.
It's not because
this is Pride Month. We're doing them a service.
Yeah, because you don't know where things like people I worked with. It's like yes, and you meet someone at the laundromat. One thing, like whatever, like just. Having I was actually wanted to do some research on didn't get the funding for it, but just trying to encourage people to carry condom on like high risk populations, men who have sex with men who have a history of sex that they regret, with novel partners, unprotected, but just to like reinforce them, like if we text you like a few random times a week and you happen to have a condom in your wallet, we'll give you $10. Like just to get them in the habit of just carry a condom on you.
Right.
Which would really help because, you could be moralistic and Puritan and say, oh no, you shouldn't, but like, okay,
Right.
like whatever, at least, because what my research showed me was that not always, but most of the time when these supposedly high risk populations, when they had the choice, they would say they'd use a condom if they had it there.
Right.
But when they're rolling, like, and when it's not just the coke, but also just the, breaking the action, biology's happening, and it's like someone's got to stop and say, hold on, do you have a,
Right.
no.
Right. What's the phrase? A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush or something like, what is it? Two in the hand is worth, no.
Yeah, bird in the hand is worth two in the bush,
Right,
yeah.
right, exactly.
So-
I'm not gonna risk this opportunity right now.
Oh yeah, maybe she or he will,
Right.
whatever, second guess,
Right.
and just once things are going, you don't want to put the brakes on,
Exactly.
and like, and you add coke to that or
Yep.
meth, and it's like even
Gas on fire.
So
So hypothetically, not that me or anyone I know would ever do such a thing, but in a purely scientific laboratory setting, if somebody was on cocaine and their pee-pee didn't work, what drug would they use?
well, they would use Viagra
That would
or
be
the other or Cialis.
But those are not safe combinations.
Well, first of all, cocaine's not safe.
Right. Well, if you
So this is all a relative conversation. So there will always be, well, there's some exceptions, but
Everything's in
virtually a
moderation.
combination of two things is almost always riskier than taking one thing. So
Right.
two drugs
Exactly.
is usually
You're compounding
more
the
risk. So yes, there's risk, but most toxic drug effects are dose and frequency dependent, meaning, yeah, the guy taking 4 Viagra's, like, one thinks, well, couldn't he have tried one?
Right.
Maybe he wouldn't have had a heart attack. He still could have. Still a risk,
But with I don't understand though. So the Viagra is just like it's like a vasodilator, right? So like how would that hypothetically mixed with cocaine cause a heart attack? Do you know?
I don't know. Cocaine can be a vasoconstrictor.
Right.
I'm not even sure a cardiologist wouldn't. The cardiologist probably would know something about how Viagra could cause a cardiac event, but
Right.
no one probably knows specifically about the combination together.
Right.
I mean, we know cocaine. I mean, simply at the level of increasing blood pressure and pulse, like you do that with anything, which is why even to a mild degree, psilocybin can be a risk for a cardiac event in people at severe heart
Anxiety.
disease risk.
Oh, really?
Because it has a modest effect on blood. But these are the same people that they could have a cardiac event going up a couple flights of stairs, or it's actually pretty common, like people having sex. Guy shows up to the ER, like having sex with his wife or whoever.
Yeah, totally.
Like anything that raises your heart up, heart rate up and your blood pressure for people who had severe risk can push them over the edge. So even psilocybin can be a risk and very at risk, which you weed people out in research easy to check their blood pressure.
Right.
But yeah.
Wild.